We're here at the beautiful west side of campus, Old Main in the background with the flags of our 22 Arizona native nations. Levi, thank you for joining me today. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
I grew up in Parker, Arizona, 10 miles from town there on the Colorado River Indian Reservation. However, I'm not an enrolled member there. I have a brother, sister, and other family members are. I'm actually enrolled at Chemehuevi Valley, which is right across from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. I'm married. I have 3 daughters. In the past, I've had the opportunity to work for my tribe. Served as a planner grant writer, then I became chairman, and then I did about 12 years on tribal council. You know, when this job became an opening, I made a comment to someone, this job was written for me and all the experiences I've had. So I am so grateful to be here and to push that forward.
You have been as transformational for the university as anybody I've seen in 2-year period of time. So again, thank you for bringing your talents to Tucson.
You bet.
Down to the old Pueblo here. So tell me about this Arizona Native Scholarship Grant.
Oh, isn't it wonderful? So as you know, Arizona is the first public institution here in Arizona that now offers tuition waivers for the members of the 22 tribal nations here in Arizona, students who are attending main campus. They still have requirements. They still need to put in for a Pell Grant, but then after that, we provide the gap funding so their tuition's paid for. It's been a long time in coming. And you know, what's really been interesting is some people ask me, well, it's been the impact. Well, the announcement came out and we saw a 3% uptick of our native students here in Arizona. But what's really fascinating is our transfer students are up 50%. And I think this is a direct result of that.
I clearly think that it had a lot to do with the increased numbers that we're seeing. Why is it so important to the students, this program? What does it do for them?
Well, my mom told me, my dad died when I was 4, but my mom told me I'm going to college. I didn't know where, but I knew I was going. The one thing that really separated me from some of my friends is they never had that instilled in them. So for them, college was a dream, right? Now it's not a dream, it can become a reality. Education changed the trajectory of where you are in life. It opens up so many more doors, and I think this will be one of the greatest impacts we can have on our native nations here in Arizona.
I totally agree with that. But that's just part of the story, because the total cost of tuition, all the other things that students have to pay for at the University of Arizona, how can they get further help?
We know tribes still offer scholarships. However, it seems like a lot of those scholarships are always tied to tuition. Now, if they're not concentrating on tuition, now they have tribal funding available for the cost of living, right? The food, the shelter, the room and board, the books. Those things are now applicable for those tribal nations.
What other things are you working on besides just this?
You really want to ask that question?
I do.
We got some great things going on.
You do have
one of the
great
things, we see some flags in the background. So next July at this time, we're hoping to do construction here of Unity Plaza. We're going to do 22 tribal flagpoles. We're going to have our land acknowledgement statement, a place where we're actually building unity for our native nations, not only for students to come here, but to also invite tribal leaders here. We're in the process of actually learning and gathering information on developing a cultural center or a student center, a house of learning. We have a survey that went out to our native students, alumni. We're going to the tribal leaders and the education directors. I really thank you, because when we get together with tribal leaders, you always tell them the same thing. Hey, we want to hear from you on how you want us to serve your students. You don't know how much of an impact that has when the tribal leader hears that from a university president. The other thing we did when you look over here at Old Main, right, is we had our tribal summit here last year. That's monumental, the opportunities to engage. And we're looking at those opportunities, continuing those building blocks, because as you engage with tribal leaders, you get to learn firsthand.
What about the micro campus you're working on with the Pascua Yaqui Nation?
Oh, wow, man. That has been in the works for years. This is taking learning opportunities to the tribal community, so those students don't have to leave their tribal community to receive their education. But our goal is to expand it way beyond Pascua Yaqui, whether it's Hopi or White Mountain or beyond the borders of Arizona.
Yeah, that's great stuff, because before you got here, I had a lot of meetings and talked a lot, but you know, the tribal leaders, I think, grew impatient that they weren't seeing action. You have brought action to this campus, my friend, so thank you very much.